about anything else.
We don't want to know.
We're dedicated
To our favorite shows.
Oh, my circuit!
Everybody loves Hypnotoad.
Scary dog!
Dancing at Blurnsville.
Futurama.
Good evening. You are listening to a Radulich and Broadcasting Premier Podcast TV Party tonight. I'm your host, Mark Radulich, baby. No, I'm your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And tonight, our favorite show is NXT WarGames, now with 100% less takeover. Joining me, riding up on his horse, is one of the podsmen. We are happy, just overjoyed to have him back. Mr. Chris Sheehan, how do you do, sir?
Hey, how are you? How are you? This is an exciting day. It's been a long time since I've NXT'd, so I'm looking forward to talking about this. I guess like a new coat of paint is apt here, since there's paint everywhere.
It's a can we just talk about that for a moment? But yeah, it's brand new and exciting NXT like you've never seen before.
Yeah, unless you watched AWA back in the late 80s.
So I think you and I just need to have a brief conversation about this, because
certainly
you hadn't watched NXT even a while before the big 2.0 reset.
Oh,
When was the last time what was the last NXT takeover or the NXT show you watched?
I want to say like people like Adam Cole and maybe even Velveteen Dream were still around. I mean, it's been a little while.
Okay.
I don't think I've watched it since they went to Tuesdays. Because it just doesn't seem like there's any real urgency behind the show anymore. Not that there really ever was, but at least we can kind of trick ourselves into thinking like, oh, what's going to happen this week? This is there's this war happening. I mean, everybody's going to, was it the tide raises all boats or whatever? So you figure something might happen, and nothing ever did.
Yeah, when AEW and NXT went head to head on Wednesdays, there was what's going to happen?
Sure.
Right? And then everyone kind of just settled, and neither one really made any headway.
No.
I think since CM Punk and Bryan Danielson have come over, and there's been, I think the big story sort of holding up the entire wrestling industry right now is WWE releasing people and AEW signing them.
Yeah,
that's always like the biggest headline.
It's what is that? A self-sustaining economy here.
Yes.
Yeah.
But NXT, the Wednesday Night War never came to much of anything. And I don't know if you know this or not, but the scuttlebutt is that first, let me say for those longtime wrestling fans who like wrestling, the big trick with NXT was it was kind of Ring of Honor, but with a budget.
Yeah,
it was all the old Ring of Honor guys. It was more wrestling focused than either of the two main roster shows. And so for people who just wanted to watch like a good, competent wrestling program, NXT was the thing.
Oh yeah, you couldn't go wrong.
Right. And we were kind of all loyalist NXT fans because of that. And then the WWE started to do things like plucking guys that they would debut in NXT, and like a week later they were on the main roster. Yeah,
and they'd still have titles. Like, they would win like the North American title or the NXT championship, and then they'd show up on Raw. Sometimes they'd have the belt, sometimes they wouldn't.
Right.
Sometimes it would be mentioned, sometimes it wouldn't. It felt, I don't know, it was like that whole feeder thing that they seemed to be trying to they were dancing with.
There was a philosophical change, and it was really haphazard the way it was, because at one point NXT was just the feeder league, and we have all this extra television. People are interested in this. We'll throw it up on TV. It'll be fine.
Sure.
And it kind of worked like that. I think as audience members, we were like, oh, we want to see these guys develop. We want to see them when they're young and full of vim and vigor and just coming off the indies and stuff like that, or from some tertiary program like Impact. And that was great. And then it was like, oh, well, now they have to be competitive with AEW. So we'll send Finn Balor over there, and we'll have Bayley show up, and we'll have some cross-pollinating. And then, there was this pronouncement, NXT is the third brand. They did, and that
they did that Survivor Series.
Oh, was that 2 years ago now?
I think so. Where Keith Lee had his big coming out party,
right?
Where NXT was the third They were the third brand there. We had Adam Cole beating Daniel Bryan. We had all this like crazy stuff to put NXT over everybody else, and just didn't go anywhere.
Shayna Baszler was like in the main event when she was tearing up the women's roster. Like that might have been like the most exciting, like best pay-per-view of that year, or in a really long time. Like for put it this way, for me to remember it had to have stood out.
It was different. Yeah.
Right. I think like the only depressing thing about it was like Walter got immediately eliminated from the men's Survivor Series match.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Walter got like dumped at the Royal Rumble like in 5 seconds by Brock. So he didn't do too hot.
Meanwhile, like he's like the most favoritist guy besides like Kenny Omega or Daniel Bryan on the Indies. Everyone's like can we just get Walter to kill everyone? Like nope.
And he still hasn't been fired yet.
Yeah,
which is shocking.
He somehow managed to avoid being fired during the British Me Too and during the culling of the roster.
Of course.
All
5 or 6 of them, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got pictures of Vince with a donkey or something. I don't know what's going on there, but he survived. Him and Pete Dunne. God bless him. Anyway, but this is what I was getting to in a long and winding road. The scuttlebutt, Christian, and I don't know if you know this or not, is that NXT produced no stars. Now, I don't know how much of that is like WWE talk, and I don't know how much of that is Twitter chatter.
Okay.
But that's what I've picked up, is that basically they set up this feeder system. This feeder system produced like no stars besides the Shield, and that it was time to revamp it. It was too dark, too black, the black
school.
And gold.
Yeah,
it was too simple. Like we needed to liven it up. With the culling of the roster, and I know you followed that. Like they cut all like people who they had just been pushing.
Sure.
Like they threw everybody out.
Yeah, and like that Hit Row that I missed them, but I heard that they were a pretty big deal for a month.
Yeah, I never watched them either because I could care less. But people tell me, I hear Twitter chatter that Hit Row was really great, and everyone was like shocked to see them gone.
Yeah. And even like a Bronson Reed wasn't one of my favorites or anything, but they were pushing him.
He just had the North American title.
Yeah.
Like he had this crazy run, and then he was like, and now he's gone.
And just gone.
Right. We haven't seen, I know Velveteen Dream got himself in trouble. I forget when exactly he got cut, but we haven't seen him in a dog's age. And for a while there, he was the main event guy.
Sure.
Like him and Adam Cole.
The attraction.
Yeah, it was like him, Gargano, Ciampa, and Cole. With a big 4. So anyway, the point being with all of this is that it was felt, or it's been stated, and I don't know if you agree with this or not. I want to get your opinion.
Sure.
That nobody has come out of NXT being ready to be a big star in the WWE, and I'm going to tell you that that seems like nonsense because that's because Kevin Owens came through there and he was immediately in the main event. Finn Balor came through there and he was immediately in the main event. So what do you mean we're not making stars here? Yeah. Right. The women's revolution, those 4 girls.
Yeah, I think we could break NXT up into like 4 eras, right? We have the original era where it was pre-network.
Right.
So you had like Seth Rollins, Big E on top. Of course, they made stars there. Those are the main events now on the main shows. That was like quadrant 1. Quadrant 2 is the network, black and gold, Bailey, Sasha, Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, Shinsuke. Right. They made stars there.
Right.
Quadrant 3 is, the Kevin Nash vanilla midgets. We have Ciampa,
the Ring of Honor with a budget.
Yeah, we have the Undisputed Era, all talented guys, but they didn't do anything. They stayed there. They didn't come up.
Right.
Gargano, Ciampa, whether or not they're gonna come up or they refuse to come up or whatever. Right. We had like this weird, lull in the building process here, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that this is when AEW started to pull up,
right?
And they needed to really try to just ingrain that roster as something more than what they were, which isn't fair to anybody.
It became a super indie.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I like a super indie. I'll watch a super indie.
Sure.
But does a super indie
sell more than 100 tickets? Probably not.
Sell out a stadium? Can you sell out a football stadium with Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano?
Part 85? No.
No. And I think that's a valid point. I think the scuttlebutt that NXT produced no stars is sort of a misnomer. NXT
Mm-hmm.
didn't create, and I think when you talk about quadrant 3, that's really what they're talking about, because you're absolutely right. The first 2 quadrants was just littered with stars. The entire main roster right now is full of those people.
So much optimism. Like,
right.
Like we would watch like the big matches that they were building to. We would like actually be glued to the screen after the bell rings for the second time to see how the crowd reacts. It's like, okay, well, we think Bayley's going to the main roster, right? Bayley loses to Asuka, and we wait because the crowd, they're going to stand up and say, thank you, Bayley, or they're going to say, you know, you deserve it. And we'll see Bayley's reaction. Is she going to cry? Is she going to look like she's pissed off? And we had this optimism, like she graduated.
Right.
You know, because there's a difference between graduating and having one of your friends move away during senior year.
Sure.
We're in the age of the senior year move now.
Yeah. Do you remember if Bayley and Sasha, if they're headlining NXT TakeOver, was that in a Coliseum or was that in the Performance Center? That was in Brooklyn. I mean, you can't say on one side of your mouth you produce no stars, and then on the other side of your mouth.
In fairness, they had like SummerSlam the next night, so people were in town for it. So
okay,
I mean, you could easily. I mean, I think people who spent money to go to an NXT show wanted to see an NXT show,
right?
But if you're a Vince or a Bruce or a whoever, you could be like, well, they were there anyway.
Yes, there. I guess you can make both sides. I think where I was going to was I refuse to believe that you can say on the one hand there were no stars. I mean, look, words have meaning. No stars is zero. Meanwhile, Sasha and Bayley sell out an arena, you know, in the headlining spot of an NXT show.
It's the only match in the show we can remember. It's the only match of the show we can remember too.
Yeah, all these years later, it's still like a reference point for me.
Yep.
So fast forward now, so that we can get on into this NXT paintball era. I hate this look.
It's weird.
So yeah, they're like, we need to get rid of all. They don't want any old people. So like they call up Karrion Kross, poop the bed with him, kick him out. Right. Yeah. They bring in Taya Valkyrie from Impact. Sure. They give her a gimmick. They immediately fire her too, and rinse, repeat, and they just wash away all of the super indie people. And it's all performance people left, with the exception of a few NXT holdovers.
It's like stalwarts,
yeah. So Gargano, Ciampa, Pete Dunne, everyone in the main event on
the people who won't leave,
Black and Gold, right? And then like the newest super indie guy, LA Knight,
which is odd. I mean, that to me tells you how much they've totally shredded this roster. When LA Knight's been around for less than a year,
right? And
he's representing the old school.
Again, I think it's like Performance Center guys versus super indie guys.
So I mean, you had O'Reilly on the show. Yeah, it would have made more sense to have O'Reilly on the show. It would have been almost poetic, because you'd have an Undisputed Era guy there.
Yeah,
where we only have him and Strong left, and Strong doesn't even resemble himself anymore.
I thought I read like after this, like Kyle O'Reilly has got to be on his way out.
I'm
which
sure
is weird. Just didn't he? Well, we'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah.
So. NXT WarGames is a couple of things about this. So they did the 2.0 thing, and now you didn't watch the first episode or two of the 2.0 era, right?
I watched some clips in preparation for the show. The Bron Breakker thing, I did see him show up.
Okay,
and let's talk about Bron Breakker for a second.
Okay,
awesome, absolutely awesome.
Stupidest name ever.
Yes, that's what I'm getting to here. I think it's emblematic here. I talked about graduation versus just moving away.
Right.
Now we're hiring guys with the idea that they're going to go. Because we all heard, and we were all like totally psyched for Rex Steiner. It's like, we're going to have a Steiner again. How cool is that? We're going to have legacy here. We're going to actually, we're going to have some sort of a bloodline here that isn't Samoan. Cool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Then they change his name because, well, his last name is Rex Steiner. So in a year and a half, when he shows up on AEW, he could still be Rex Steiner.
Yeah.
We're hiring people with an eye toward them leaving. Not with an eye toward them graduating, but with an eye toward them leaving. LA Knight. Who was he? Who was he before this?
McGee. I don't remember what his
But I mean, he
name
had
was.
a name, right?
Yeah. Yes,
I mean,
he
was
a
name. Named dude. He was on Impact. He was in the NWA. He comes in, and people are like, "Hey, it's this guy, whatever the hell his name was."
Yep.
and he's La Knight. And it's like, okay, so we're bringing him in under the impression that he's not long for this world.
Right.
So why in the hell am I going to invest in him? Same with Rex Steiner here. Awesome dude, huge presence. I mean, it's like watching it's like Scott and Rick had some illicit sex and birthed this kid.
That is what everyone has said. Like, this is the child of Rick and
of the
Scott Steiner.
Brothers. Yeah, I mean, all the smoothness of a Scott, you know, the promos of both of them. I mean, it's ridiculous. He pulled off a Frankensteiner. He's a huge dude. And we're already setting him up to go somewhere else.
Yeah. So this whole NXT 2.0 thing is a rejection of the Triple H era and a bringing in of, we just want to build guys up from the beginning. I heard talk of, we don't want wrestlers from the indies. We don't want any old people. We don't want wrestlers from the indies. We want people from other walks of life, and that we can. So, like, basically, they don't want wrestlers. They want WWE superstars.
Yeah.
Which I get the argument. I really do. This is a company in the interest, that needs to make money.
Of course.
And they have a lot of masters to serve. They really do. This is the last thing I'm going to say, and then we'll jump into the review. The WWE is not a wrestling company anymore. It's a Hollywood studio. But it's a Hollywood studio from the 50s. They'd sign an actor and they were like, you are contracted to X amount of pictures for RKO Studios. So movies, right, are moving pictures where that's how it used to be. So like MGM, RKO, all of these different Hollywood studios would sign a roster of actors, and then they would just churn out pictures. That's basically what the WWE has become. We want players. We want performers. And they are contracted to us, and they will perform in our plays called Monday Night Raw or SmackDown or SummerSlam or Great Balls of Fire. And that's where we're going with this. This is no longer a wrestling company. So we don't want wrestlers that came up through the indies learning to wrestle, because that clearly doesn't work, quote unquote. With that said, I don't love the look of NXT 2.0.
Looks dated already.
I was going to say, like, who decided paintball was the aesthetic we should go for? Like, we need to make this colorful. All right. So colorful means I've got 15
colors here. Let's just throw them.
Let's let a 7-year-old loose in a paint store and see what happens. All right. So and then, other than Bron Breakker, and we'll talk about this as we get through the roster, did you see anybody on this card where you're like, I can't wait for Tuesday because I want more of that guy? Bron Breakker aside, and I'm literally going to jump into the women's match after this. Is there anybody that you saw brand new and exciting that you were like, oh, this is what I've been missing?
No.
Yeah, that is the correct answer.
Single one. And I feel like it sucks to be these 2.0 guys. First of all, because by no fault of their own, they've been branded as the heels of this show.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure Breakker is a babyface, right?
Who knows? I couldn't tell.
I mean, who could tell you? But they're all hanging out here, and Lord only knows. But it's like the internet sucks. We can probably agree on that. Several months ago, when we heard that, this is going to be Vince and Bruce's vision, that poisoned the well for everybody right there.
Sure.
The wrestling fans were just like, I can't wait to shit on this.
Sure.
They weren't even going to give it an opportunity. It could have been the greatest thing in the world, but Daddy Meltzer says Bruce and Vince are bad, so no.
AEW is the hotness, and unless you're a WWE, see, that's the thing. And listening to this review, I'm going to say this to our audience: I like wrestling. I am not a fan of a company. It's the same thing with boxing. I am not a fan of a promotion. I am a fan of wrestling. I will watch good wrestling.
There's more than one boxing promotion?
There is. There's a bunch. And so, like, I tune in to see particular people I want to see wrestle, or an event I like watching. Like, I like the WarGames concept. I was excited to watch this morning.
You watched Impact for Omega.
Yeah, I was watching Impact for Omega, and it certainly wasn't because I was a big, like Impact stan.
You didn't want to hear Josh Matthews his biting commentary,
but
is he still a thing?
Maybe. But what kills me about NXT, about the WWE in general, is that they have gone. AEW's identity is wrapped up in the wrestlers they have. Like, I don't know if AEW continues to be AEW if like Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks leave. Then I'm not entirely sure what their identity is.
Yeah.
WWE their identity is not wrapped up in their wrestlers. The entire roster could go.
Yeah.
They would still be identifiably WWE. More to the point, I think there are people who are like AEW fans, and as you have pointed out on many occasions, no matter what AEW does, they can do no wrong to those people.
Gold. Yeah.
Yeah. And there are people who are WWE fans, and no matter what the WWE fans do, the company does, they stand by them and they can do no wrong.
Yeah.
Which I think really colors any kind of discussion you can have, because they both mess up and they both do great things. And there's great guys on both rosters and there's terrible people on both rosters. Can we not have a discussion about what those things are without it delving into you hurt
console
my feelings?
Wars.
Yeah. Console wars. Perfect.
Yep.
All right. So kicking off WarGames, which took place December 5th in the Performance Center. They got to get out of that Performance Center. Like, take this.
AWA.
They can. I mean, for the weekly shows, sure, but like this, they could have sold out if they just wanted to stay local. Even they could have brought this to the Amway or the Amalie or
go back
to the Lakeland Coliseum.
Full Sail looked more professional than this.
For sure.
This is a TV studio. This isn't a wrestling arena.
And it looked it, and I did not like the look of this. This looked like they shot this in a warehouse.
Yeah, the cages up in the crowd. Oh,
I hated that. It took me a minute to realize what that was.
I thought it was set.
Yeah,
I thought, they got cages up there. I'm like, no, wait, they're in there.
Yeah. So like they ran past it. They like woohoo, and they ran past the damn ring, and then they went into the stand. Like where'd they go? I don't understand what's happening here. And then it took me like, they're in cages back there. Because if you'll remember, I think a year or two ago when they did this, the cages were on this were at the entranceway, and they were screaming at each other the whole time.
Yep.
They were like frothing to get out of the cage and kill one another.
Exactly.
I'm like, that looked cool. This where they're just, they might as well have just had them in the back. Like,
there
was
just
no point.
Hit their music and have them run out. Yeah,
exactly. Like a Royal Rumble.
Exactly.
All right. Did you see the dark match? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't. And if you didn't, we can just move on.
I watched it. I watched the show the next day, so I didn't see what was the dark.
Odyssey Jones and Andre Chase, who I couldn't pick out of a lineup if you put a gun to my head.
Nope, I couldn't tell you which was which.
All right. In our first WarGames match, which was about 31 minutes, we had the women's kicking it off. We had Cora Jade,
dynamic dudette.
Yes, I had no idea who she was, but apparently her real name is Brianna Coda.
You know what I hear about her? She's 20 years old. You might not have heard that. They only mentioned it about 8,000 times.
She's been in AEW before. I don't think I've seen her on television. She ran by the name Elena Black before coming over here. Okay. We had Io Shirai, one of those people who apparently is never going to leave NXT.
Never.
And Kaylee Ray, who was mostly on the NXT UK brand.
As a heel.
Yeah.
She looks like a heel.
Raquel González, who's like their big star after what's her face there, the Australian, who's Rhea Ripley, before Rhea Ripley took off for the main roster. So that was your good guy team, which is a really weird combination, by the way.
Totally.
Because weren't half of these people like heels a month ago?
I thought because Kaylee Ray looks like a heel. Like you look at her face and it's like,
yeah.
She's bad.
They defeated Dakota Kai, who took a trip to the 80s and came back with the same style. What was with that hair?
She looked like a Barbie doll that was put in the microwave. It just frizzed out like nuts.
Remember when she turned into Darth Dakota Kai?
Yeah,
and she her hair was like straightened and kind of greasy looking, and she just looked pissed off and
exactly, yeah.
Like what happened? She's still if she's still a heel, why does she look like she dropped out of
Snyder.
Gem in the holograms?
Exactly.
Jesus Christ.
Weird. I don't know how she even worked with that on her head. That was distracting to watch.
I swear to God, I thought she was going to roll over like a Trans Am or a Corvette or something and, ask her to pour some sugar on her or talk about her cherry pie. Anyway, she was joined by Toxic Attraction.
Okay.
Gigi Dolin, who is actually Priscilla Lee Kelly,
the tampon girl.
I knew I recognized her. Yeah, that's Tampon Girl. Jacy Jayne, who is Taylor Grado.
Mm-hmm.
And she
and they were managed by Peyton Royce.
Yeah, that's right. And then of course the leader of this trio is Mandy Rose, now with black hair.
I thought it was Peyton Royce when I saw her. I'm like, oh, I thought she was on Impact, but no, it's Mandy Rose. All it took was her opening her mouth, and it's like, oh, okay, it's Mandy Rose.
Look, all credit to Mandy Rose or whoever came up with this decision. There were way too many short blondes on the main roster. She differentiates herself. Apparently, this Toxic Attraction thing is working on television, from what I hear on the Twitters. So that's fine. Anyway, what did you think of this match?
The match went too long. The match definitely went too long. They spent way too much time with Cora's arm dislocation.
Yes.
They really
that was the whole story.
That was the entire thing. She does this stupid swanton bomb. Apparently, lands on her shoulder, and the whole time she's rolling around. My shoulder.
Right.
I thought they were leading to something when Io relocated the shoulder. I'm like, okay, that's funny. That's interesting. Okay, we can get past this now. No. She pops the shoulder back in. She's like, I'm fine, and then proceeds to roll around on the ground holding her shoulder for the next 15 minutes.
Yep.
And then she rolls up the whatever bad person for the win. What? And we talk about the moments, we talk about the camera shots, the angles here. One thing I'll give them credit for is that they never pulled off the garbage can moonsault, so I guess I can't really give them credit. Last year or the year before, maybe both years, one of the things that I pointed out was like the camera would go away from somebody, and then all of a sudden they'd be on the top of the cage, and it's like, oh, there they are, and it's like nobody saw this. Like, just because the camera wasn't pointing at it,
we're not there yet. But later on, when Bron Breakker can't cut the chain,
oh god,
and they have to kind of like sad trombone cut away from it.
Go over to him. Yeah, go over to him.
And it wasn't even like a cut to anything more interesting. It was literally like they just standing there. They just pan away sad, like they're like
people just standing there.
Didn't work out at all.
So bad, but we had Io climb up and it followed her up. But she got pulled down. But there was that one bit when WarGames started, and both teams, like, they stopped fighting.
Right.
They each went to a different ring. Then they climbed up on the ropes and pointed at each other.
Yep.
Like it was the cover of like X-Men 101, it's like, or X-Men 100, like pointing at each other. Why did they stop fighting?
Right.
I hate that shit. And also the plunder.
I know you don't like AEW, but
I've never seen it. Yeah.
Just as a point of contrast, their WarGames match, Blood and Guts, never stopped. Like it almost got overwhelming.
Good for them.
And that is my point. Like Blood and Guts felt like a real fight. Like these people were trying to hurt each other.
Yeah.
And
that's another thing about this match. We started with an attempted murder. They were bringing plunder in, and we started with a baseball bat. And that broad was swinging to take whoever's head off their shoulders. We're starting the match with a murder?
Yeah. And that's the
thing. Don't we build to the murder?
When Triple H used to pull out the sledgehammer, it was the end of the match.
He was either gonna get his comeuppance or he's going to knock someone out.
Right. He was either gonna get him in the rib cage with it, or in
slip
the belly.
on a banana peel. Yeah.
Right. Or he was gonna miss. He was gonna get knocked out, and then the hammer would go flying, and that was the end of it. It was never like, we're gonna start with the hammer. We're gonna start with the flaming 2x4.
Yeah.
I get it.
So much plunder all around. Like every time the thing came, every time the bell rang, they're under the ring.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I know we've talked about this a zillion times, so I'm only gonna like briefly mention it. The Jim Cornette thing of this now flies in the face of any kind of believability. Yeah. Because why is all that stuff under there? They don't. And here's the thing: you can't even say like, well, they might use the tables. No. Have you
what?
seen a WWE?
Yeah.
They use the Lincoln Logs thing that collapses when you stand on it.
Well, we might set up merch at the intermission, right?
No,
Yeah.
there's no reason. There used to be tables underneath the ring because you would set them up for the timekeeper and whatnot. That's why they were there, and in case you needed an extra one for, the commission or whatever.
Sure.
None of that crap is there anymore.
Doesn't
What
exist.
is there is pre-set up ahead of time, and it's not one of those tables.
It's not a Home Depot folding table. Yeah.
Right. Why are garbage cans down there?
What was in the backpack that Gigi Dolin pulled out?
I thought
That
it was
never
gonna be
went
taxed.
anywhere. There was
It
was just a backpack, and it kept getting thrown around the ring, but nothing ever came out of the backpack.
Yeah, I honestly thought they were going to do a tax spot. And I'm like, oh, God.
I figured it was going to be tax. Yeah, but no.
Maybe it was
Maybe Damien was in there.
God damn it! Both at the same time. So you and me, same page. All right. This last thing about this match. Look, the whole thing was fine. That's kind of like where
it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it's kind of where I've landed with wrestling these days. Is that unless it is like really bad, it's all kind of okay to good.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to like put, other than what we've talked about. It's hard for me to really point out anything.
We got to stop the Tower of Doom spot.
Yeah, that's a great thing to bring up, because you brought up like the plunder. They do the same bit in the men's match. Almost there's a guy throwing crap in the ring, and the only thing that was different about it was they chained the door, which I thought was supposed to be chained anyway, which made no sense to me. And then Braun Breaker, slow trombone, can't cut the damn chain.
Not to get ahead of ourselves, they should. I thought they were building up to Braun Breaker coming out and just tearing it off the hinges.
Yeah, I thought he was going to go Kane on it, and I was like, "Oh, that'd have been awesome if he just ripped the whole damn door down." And it was just like, "Nope,
nope." He's click. Wait. Click.
Yeah. Let me do it. I'll do it myself. 20 minutes later. Okay.
Who's got a torch?
But you're right, because they do a Tower of Doom spot in the women's match. They do the same spot later.
Sucks.
I was waiting for LA Knight to dive in a garbage can so we could do that spot for a third time. It
sucks.
Remember when you couldn't do the super kick because it was Shawn's move?
Yeah. You couldn't have long blonde hair because that's Triple H.
Yeah. We have come a long way, and apparently they don't know the word redundancy anymore.
No.
But overall, it was okay. And
it was an okay match.
This was apparently, and I had heard this on Twitter, this whole match seemed to have been set up around like putting over Cora Jade as the next big deal. Which you have Raquel González there. Are we done with her already? Is that it? She had her moment in the sun, and we're done with her.
And when Cora Jade came out, or Jayne, or whatever her name is, I thought it was Catanzaro. I thought it was her because they look identical, except for Jade has awful tattoos on her arm.
Well, I was going to say Cora Jade is a cute girl. I mean, I could definitely see them making money with her, but I haven't seen enough of her gimmick to really have an opinion. Just her kind of coming out with
taking one slide on a skateboard, almost falling off, and then picking it up.
Yeah, her coming out on the skateboard in what looked like the kind of stuff you'd see at whatever store sells your daughter, her clothing, your teenage daughter, wherever she shops at.
An American Girl doll store.
That's not what I was thinking, but the tween girl version of Hot Topic is what she looks like.
There you go.
In any case, yeah, she comes out on the skateboard and at least like Darby Allin rides the skateboard all the way to the ring. She literally like kicks it once and then it's like, I'm done now. I'm a skateboarder. It's like, oh God, you heard everything awful about anything. But she's a cute girl, and I could definitely see them making money with her face. So, and she seems to be a competent enough wrestler. Sure. But yeah, it was really weird. Like, this is your coming out party. We really want you to stand, so get injured midway through,
lay
and then
down
don't
for
get up again.
80% of the match.
Yeah.
All right, and then luck yourself into a win.
Imperium, who looks like they've been hitting the gas lately. Jesus Christ! Did you see the bodies on these two guys?
Dude,
for anyone who says they only talk about women's bodies, Imperium. Holy cow! What a musculature on these two guys! Like, I remember them being that ripped before.
Yeah, they were impressive. Yeah,
yeah. I was like,
that's how they sidestepped the last culling. I think
I'm not a homosexual, but they were amazing looking. And
they saw people's phones ringing with Johnny Ace's number, and it's like, oh wait, let's get in there.
Yeah, we hit the weights. And they defeated Kyle O'Reilly and whoever the hell Von Wagner is.
What happened to Kyle O'Reilly?
Remember when Kyle O'Reilly was
a main eventer?
Yeah, was the next big
he was going to be the breakout.
Yeah.
When I saw him, I felt so bad for him, but then I immediately thought, oh, he's leaving.
Yeah, now he looks like a homeless.
He does.
He does. Awful looking. And they lost.
I don't know who his partner was, though. Is he? I'm guessing he's a 2.0 guy. I don't know.
I'm guessing because he doesn't even have a hyperlink on the Wikipedia. That's always not a good sign.
No.
He's a creator wrestler.
He looked like it.
Yeah, he really did. This was, like I said, Imperium looked really impressive in this match, both as wrestlers and as bodybuilders. Yeah, they tossed, especially the taller one.
That Aikna?
I think so.
Aikna?
No, Marcelo Barthel, the taller one.
Oh, okay, Barthel.
He's always looked a little soft, and he even looked like ripped in this one. I'm like, holy cow!
Yeah, he was cutting. Yeah.
He looked great, and they threw Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner around well. This match went 14 minutes 53 seconds, and Imperium retained their tag team titles. And then Von Wagner tried to attack Kyle O'Reilly. Kyle O'Reilly saw it coming a million miles away because so did the audience. And then Kyle O'Reilly yelled about something backstage and
crotch chopped and
put
up the UE.
And then I believe a graphic came up that said Kyle O'Reilly is all elite, and that was that. So.
Yeah, because that was one of those things where Kyle, loses, and he gets that round of applause. He gets that appreciation pop with the thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Kyle. He does the little bow. So it's like, okay, so where's he going?
Right.
I mean, he ain't going to Raw or SmackDown.
No.
So we'll see him on Wednesday or Thursday.
He's joining his buddies over there in AEW, which is funny because they got Cole, they got Bobby Fish now. They just need Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, and we'll have the Undisputed Era back again, I guess.
There we go. Go. Those guys that the AEW fans said wouldn't draw any money or wouldn't draw any audience. But now we have them, so yeah.
Don't be snarky. Anyway.
Just like when CM Punk showed up on that backstage show, and they're like, screw that guy. He's not relevant. He sucks.
Until he breaks the internet on Rampage.
Ooh, yeah.
So I'll tell you, the show is okay, but you know what it could have used? Could have used Grammarly.
I think so. Maybe they heard one of Braun Breaker's promos, and they're like, wait a minute. I have 153.6% chance of not understanding this. How do we make this work?
I 100% win 50% of the time. Well, you need Grammarly for your promos, sir. All you signers do. Including the one that barks a lot. For you listeners of TV Party Tonight on Radulich and Broadcasting Network and part of W2M, Grammarly is offering a free download of the Grammarly software. Grammarly's AI-powered products help people communicate more effectively. Grammarly helps you write mistake-free on Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and nearly anywhere else you write on the web. Grammarly corrects hundreds of grammar, punctuation, spelling mistakes while also catching contextual errors, improving your vocabulary, and suggesting style improvements. To download Grammarly today, go to getgrammarly.com/W2M network. Again, that's getgrammarly.com/W2M network to download Grammarly for free. All righty. Moving on to the Moon. Now let's and an old school Memphis hair versus hair match.
That's a little too wrestling for me.
This is Cameron Grimes, my favorite wrestler, versus Duke Hudson, who looks like a substitute teacher. So Brandon Vink is an Australian professional wrestler, also known by the ring name Elliot Sexton. He is currently signed to the WWE NXT brand under the ring Duke Hudson. And that's, I'm just kind of going over the hyperlink here. I'm not going.
Is he only 20 years old as well?
32.
Oh, that's too old.
He was
too old.
He was professionally scouted and brought with his prominent claim to fame in WWE by Luco Greco and Dante Hamilton, members of the renowned villainous independent faction, The Crew. He is known for his work in Melbourne City Wrestling as part of The Mighty Don't Kneel. Oh, he's one of those guys.
Oh, okay. I vaguely remember them.
Yeah, TMDK.
Yeah. They showed up like a while ago.
Yeah. I didn't, and I thought they broke up the Mighty Don't Kneel and they were pushing one guy and not the other.
So.
Yeah, Shane Thorne. I remember these guys.
Okay.
Yeah, they were known as TM61 at one point. Huh.
Yes, that's what I remember. Okay.
First of all, like, whoever decided not to use the name The Mighty Don't Kneel, you fool. That is an awesome name. Yeah. Like, I didn't know who these guys were, but I'm like, whoever The Mighty Don't Kneel are, I need to find out because that is an amazing
That's
name.
A cool name.
Yeah. Anyway, this match went 10 minutes. They wrestled a perfectly serviceable match, and then at the end, they got to do the gimmick where Cameron Grimes shaves his head. By the way, so this whole setup to this, if you watch the I had to do a lot of skipping forward. By the way, you meant so the Podsmen have their own little private chat on Twitter, and you guys watched this before I did, and so I hear you guys talking, and at one point Sheehan's like, "You're Sheehan." Sheehan's like for our audience, could we stop with the skits already? They were vignettes. Like, oh my god, they were like an hour's worth of skits in between every match,
and because like they're introducing all these new characters, and it's like Vince is like only looking at certain parts of the internet. It's like, hey, you know, when we did the Scott Hall vignettes and the Mr. Perfect vignettes and the $1 Million Man vignettes, people loved it. So now let's give everybody vignettes.
Yeah,
like who is this Style Strong guy? Yeah, this Style Strong guy who looks like Bailey? I thought it was Bailey the first time I saw this guy. Why did we get 3 vignettes of him, including one of him having to poop? Like he's eating pizza and he's like, oh, and he runs to the bathroom and we hear bathroom noises for like a minute. Like I remember they did that with King Kong Bundy during like the 1986 Slammies, and I was 6 years old at the time, and I was like, wow, that's a little low class. Here I am, 40 years old. Like, why? How does this get this guy over? We don't make stars. Let's put this poor dude on a toilet.
Yeah. By the way, I'm picturing you at even 6 years old walking around like a top hat and a monocle. Like
I was young Mr. Peanut. I was young Mr. Peanut. But I like had even taking the toilet out of it. These vignettes don't get anybody over. We saw the grizzled young veterans like trying to like scam Uber Eats for 5 minutes.
Yeah, my point is I skipped all that. I needed to get this watched, and I was doing a boxing pay-per-view Sunday night, so I didn't watch this live. I watched some of it last night, and I watched the rest of it this morning, and I'm like, I don't care about any of this.
Dude, you made the right choice. There's this new girl now who's like basically what Taya Valkyrie was. It's like she's like a rich girl, like walking around Beverly Hills.
She inherited Frankie Monet's gimmick.
Basically, and like the whole time there's like a song going, rich bitch, rich bitch. It's like, why do we want to see this? Who is sitting there on Twitter going hashtag rich bitch? Can't wait for Tuesday. Nobody.
So the setup to this. So remember when back in the days, a hair versus hair match would be the resolution of somebody doing a hatchet job on your head.
Yeah, not giving you a nice haircut, not making you look better.
Right. Yeah. You had to basically shave your head because they left patches,
They look like crap. Yeah.
Right. So this guy, Duke the Dumpster Drosy, whatever the hell his name is, Duke Hudson, Hudson Hawk, whatever, gives him the Shawn Michaels soccer mom haircut.
Yeah. And it looks 100 times better than what he looked like. He looks less homeless. He looks normal.
So this feud is over Duke Hudson cutting Cameron Grimes' hair without consent, but giving him a nice little bob.
He was raped of his dignity.
Yeah.
Boy. And this was built up over the course of 2 episodes of the show?
Could be.
I mean,
I gave this 2 episodes back when it first started. Haven't watched since, and I don't think I'm going to. Like I've more
missed
than happy
many epissodes, but I haven't missed many episodes.
I might tune in for the New Year's whatever one.
Where was Dexter Loomis? Speaking of the New Year's Evil, where was he?
Well, we'll get there. You know where he is.
Do I?
Yeah, he's in the main event.
Dexter Loomis?
Yeah.
Of tonight's show.
We'll talk about it. Yeah.
Did I miss that?
Yes, apparently.
Holy cow!
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised. It was a big deal. Anyway,
wow.
So
I must have fallen asleep.
You might have, Rabbit. So Cameron Grimes defeated Duke Hudson 10 minutes 24 seconds. That was an okay match. You know, it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, you have a dude who has long hair versus a dude who has like an inch and a half of hair, and the hair versus hair match. I wonder who's going to win.
Yep.
And I mean, what was the point?
I don't know. Maybe someone told Duke that like you seem like you're losing your hair. Your hairline's going back. Let's just shave your head. Well, we can't just shave his head. We have to do a gimmick about it. So
yeah,
there we go.
Hey, yeah, it's like, do you want to look like Daniel Bryan when he got his crew cut? There you go. There you go. We don't have him anymore, so you're him.
You're Daniel Bryan. All right. Speaking of Daniel Bryan, Roderick Strong, a part of Diamond Mine. I didn't know who any of those people were with him.
All around. Yeah.
Okay. But
against PC Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, no, Joe Gacy makes me laugh. Okay. So the little bit that I have tuned into NXT, I've seen him doing the patronizing woke guy gimmick.
SJW gimmick, yeah.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
He's great.
I don't have time for this, but the little bit that I have seen it when I do pay attention makes me laugh. He
commits to the bit.
Yeah, he really does. And it's so Vince McMahon is 1,000 years old, and I'm sure he hates the culture the way it is right now when he's aware of what's happening.
If he's even aware of it, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, if somebody said, so if he happens to be like, you know, getting Danish from the break room, and he's hearing two people talk about how Dave Chappelle was canceled, he was like, "What, the Chappelle show? Is that what you?" No, canceled is a whole other thing, Vince, and somebody had to like explain cancel culture in 5 minutes, and he's like, "Oh, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We need a guy to talk about how dumb it is." And like, well, and that's Joe Gacy. So it makes me laugh, and it's clearly like an agenda-driven character,
of course.
But he, you know, it's one of those things where it's kind of like the Red Rooster. It's like, it's dumb, but if the guy can pull it off, it'll be great.
Yeah, if you commit to the bit, you can make it work. And Gacy is 100% in. I mean, you hate the character because he's a dick,
right?
But he's so good at doing it.
Yeah, no, he is like he is an old school true heel in that
he's a bad guy. Yeah.
He makes you want to see him get his ass kicked.
Absolutely. No, he's great.
Is Diamond Mine supposed to be an MMA stable?
I want to say so.
Okay.
And it's being run by the devil, I think it looks like.
It's good. It's a good combination. So the
dude looks like the devil, doesn't he?
I was gonna say the new sinister minister is running an MMA
even
stable.
Like the eyebrows are like pointed, you know? Yeah, he looks like the devil.
All right, Roderick Strong buying his time here in NXT as part of this Diamond Mine stable. He
signed a 3-week extension to get the Cruiserweight Championship,
which they're now doing away with. Have you heard this?
No.
Yeah, they're thinking about getting rid of the Cruiserweight title.
Are they going to make it about not about weight limits, but about no limits?
I think they're just going to get rid of it. Like,
what?
You got to remember the
don't they have a show? Is 205 Live still a show?
It is, and I guess that's going away too, or it's just going to be another thing that, just another hour to fill up with whoever they've got left on the roster. I don't know.
It's going to be Wade Barrett giving a lecture or reading out of Fahrenheit 451.
Well, one good thing did come out of all of the news recently is Beth Phoenix is leaving, but she won't be missed.
Are we allowed to say that?
I don't care. Look, if you can find a woman who's awesome at that job, I'm more than happy to listen to her. She's not. And I'm not going to pretend she is.
Renee, she was great.
Yeah, they drummed her out of the business. She went home to go have babies.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. See, if you're any good at your job, you're not going to last in the WWE. They want you to be their version of terrible, which Beth Phoenix was. And
She was. That's how she was able to hold on so long.
Yeah, I've heard people say it's no longer fun to be on the NXT roster, and I can totally believe that.
It's no longer fun to be a fan of NXT.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
The optimism is gone.
Yep. Anyway, what'd you think of Roderick Strong versus Joe Gacy? I thought this was a great match. It was the shortest match on the whole show,
which might have helped.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that might have led to how good it was. They got to it right away. There was some good, hard, impactful moves. I thought Joe Gacy and Roderick Strong worked well together. I thought Joe Gacy really got up for Roderick, who can, who's just one of those guys, vanilla midget, sure, but he can go.
Of course, he's very impressive.
The thing about Roderick Strong is he makes his matches look like a struggle, and I think Joe Gacy was there for it. So, this might have been like the best pure wrestling match of the night, considering you had a lot of nonsense.
It was really good. I don't know who this monster with Gacy is. He looks like every monster we've seen for the past 15, 20 years.
So the Nazi,
like, is it Tyson Tomko again? Is it him?
I was gonna say, he looked kind of like the Nazi that they cut, that that they would push, and then he would do, and then freak. He would be, and then he would like say something on Twitter and get fired for a while, and
and then they'd find pictures of him like in apartment wrestling, and but I love the part where he picked up the girl. I don't know her name. Yeah. And Gacy's like, no, put her down. It's like totally committing to the bit here, where it's like, and the thing of it is I heard that his first promo was like way out there. Yeah. Like, it offended people. That's how like on the nose it was, making fun of this culture or representing this culture. And I guess they had to dial it back.
I don't think we need to get into ethnic slurs and whatnot, but
certainly not. No, it wasn't about that. It was more like really on the nose, like problematic.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like don't go full JBL and start doing Heil Hitler.
Yeah, don't do Germany. Don't do the trot. Yeah, don't do the.
But I think I'm not with this idea that people should be not made to feel uncomfortable about their life choices,
especially when you're playing a character. And it's a satirical character. I mean, it's funny how wrestling is looked at as garbage entertainment, right? Except when it's not.
Yeah,
it's like
when it's like an actual like parody or editorial on the culture.
Exactly. It's like, wait a minute. No. It's like, but this is bottom of the barrel stuff. You said it last week, but no. Now it has too much influence, and now it's serious,
and it must be stopped. No one can have any fun. This is no fun zone.
Where's that robot hammering in the sign? No fun allowed.
All right. So here it is, the main event, the theme of it all, the reason why we're here, the reason for the season, if you will. Team 2.0 featuring Bron and Breaker.
And 3 guys.
Carmelo Hayes, Grayson, Waller, and Tony D'Angelo. And for those of you keeping score, Carmelo Hayes is the only one of those 3 that actually has a hyperlink. He was known on the independent circuit as Christian Casanova.
Okay. I didn't know who any of these dudes were.
No, I have no clue.
Have they been around since 2.0 started? Or I'm assuming
they
one of them's
a
champion. Okay.
So Grayson Waller looked like he was doing, I guess, like an MMA gimmick, but not wearing MMA gloves. He was just wearing he looked like he was going to give somebody a proctology exam.
He looked like the Russian from Rocky, only like
Draco.
Yeah, just like not on the gas. Like
I was
after a hunger strike.
He looked like Ken doll Drago.
There you go. Yeah.
He looked like some little girl's doll that she puts with like, oh look, I've got kickboxing Barbie and boxing Ken. All right.
It's CrossFit Ken.
CrossFit Ken, sure. And they took on the old guard, Team Black and Gold.
And there was a soprano on that team too, right?
Oh, it's Tony D'Angelo.
Yeah, I was expecting him to come out like this.
And then the African-American fella on the outside was Trick Williams. I have no idea who that is either, but he was the one throwing all the plunder in.
Is he the guy who moved in with Larry David during Curb Your Enthusiasm?
I don't know. And then so Team Black and Gold is Johnny Gargano, now currently, I guess, a face after
he's a rebel heart again.
Yeah. Sure. LA Knight, we talked about before. Pete Dunne doing Christian's favorite wrestling move, small joint manipulation.
The Potato Man strikes again.
And your NXT heavyweight champion, Tommaso. I'm never going to the main roster, Ciampa. So I'll just get right to it here. So Trick Williams is outside the ring the entire time, like throwing things in. He's the one locking the door. He's helping the heels. It's it's like it's a 6-on-5, or rather 5-on-4 with him giving the advantage. And he goes underneath the ring, right? And this is all Bugs Bunny style. He goes underneath the ring to find more plunder, and then you see him vibrate. He's shaking. He's convulsing.
Is that when dexterosity happened?
And that's when dexterosity happened.
I totally missed it. I would say I'd have to rewatch it, but I was bored.
So he gets up. He goes, ah! And then, and there's a puff of smoke that says, yikes. And and there's Dexter Loomis stepping
being
out.
A sex pervert.
He's a big old sex pervert. And he chases him off, and he turns around and he gives the big thumbs up to Johnny Gargano.
I can't believe I missed that.
Yeah.
That would have gotten the biggest pop out of me for the whole show.
And then Dexter Loomis got in his rocket ship and went home. Never to be seen again. Anyway, so this match, what can we say that we haven't already said?
It was a WarGames match.
It was a WarGames match.
WWE style. Yeah.
This felt the same as the girls' match, except they didn't do the West Side Story stand and point at each other midway through the match.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank God. This one at least was a
fight.
Was a fight.
But it felt like, we talked about Survivor Series here, the whole brand loyalty, brand superiority thing. Why does Braun Breaker have any reason to team up with these guys?
Well, I think
are they not going to be feuding on Tuesday?
I think you hit upon this before, and I wanted to wait till bring this up now. Who am I as a fan supposed to be rooting for here?
Exactly.
Am I supposed to root for the old NXT? Is there a takeover angle that I'm not aware of? Because I thought this was a company decision and it was here to stay. So there's no. So when the NWO is trying to take over WCW, you're supposed to root against the NWO. You're supposed to, because the stakes involved here were that if the NWO succeeded, WCW and its legacy goes away. Right, it gets crushed, and this rebel gang of ne'er-do-wells takes over, and and we are in for 100 years of darkness. Yeah, okay, that all made sense. There's no stakes here. This was a company decision. Somebody didn't walk in, Retribution didn't walk in, tear the set down and go, you know what this place needs? A little color. Like it's an episode of What's Happening. That is an old reference that nobody got.
Come on, Raj. Yeah.
And rerun. But yeah, like nobody walked in and was just like, we need to lighten this place up a bit, and the black and gold guys like, hey, we liked wrestling in the dark. It was none of that. It was just
they look at Braun Breaker's singlet and it's like, we need that everywhere.
Your gear. That's the look we're looking for. There was none of that. There was no leadership here. It was just they walked into work one day and like, we threw paint everywhere. Go wrestle. All your friends now work for AEW. You're gonna wrestle these guys literally that just got to the Performance Center and a handful of the independent guys we haven't cut yet. That's it. That's all this is.
And there was no there was no Money in the Bank briefcase hanging. There was no like if Tommaso and the gang won, do we go back to black and gold? No.
I mean, even if like the 2.0 guys won, I wouldn't have put a belt on them, but what if they had won and the title was vacated? At least then there was a
something.
stake.
There's a reason for them to team up.
Right. Or they're fighting for contracts. If we win, we stay. You lose, you go away. You're cut from the roster. You're like, they fight for your job, something.
They could have done this and the problem is that these four guys on the 2.0 brand or 2.0 side of the coin here, they're just four dudes.
Right.
They're not the Nexus. They're not guys who are trying to gain a spot. They've already got spots. One of them has a title.
Right.
Why are they compelled to team up here?
And they kept saying through the match, they were just like, this is our time now.
Clearly.
But
we changed the set.
Right. You won already. The war is over.
This isn't the Nitro before Starrcade where the NWO took down the set, right?
Right.
This is already done.
Yeah.
The other set is in the garbage. It's in Tony Khan's backyard right now.
Yeah. Vince McMahon is standing on a pile of it while it's burning.
Yeah, there was really just no point for this. Felt to me like a love letter to Johnny Gargano. And that might have very well been the point. Because, the whole show, every time we went backstage, Tommaso's like, well, this isn't just a big night for us. It's a big night for you. And it's like,
yeah,
are you going to have sex? So... What's going on here?
This is your coming out party.
Yeah.
I because I didn't watch those vignettes. I don't know what you're talking about.
That was basically it. That was the gist of it. And LA Knight went, let me talk to you. Those are his promo skills that I heard so much about.
I did Johnny Gargano sign an extension just to do this match? Is he for real?
He signed a 10-day or a week. I think his contract is supposed to end on the 9th now. So Thursday. Okay. So the day after, or 2 days after.
Now that you mentioned it, the thing I had heard about it was that Johnny Gargano, that they were looking to keep him, which I don't know why. Johnny Gargano clicks none of the boxes. Like, how do you cut Karrion Kross, but you keep Johnny Gargano at this point?
Are we sure that Kross wasn't a COVID thing? A vaccine thing?
I mean, I'm not sure of anything. I know that's why I know why Nia Jax got cut.
Yeah, and I mean, that's we don't need to go into thoughts on that, but I mean, you can understand, like, if you're going to have international tours and stuff, you want to make sure that
if that is the situation, then nothing more needs to be said.
Yeah.
But if they just cut him because he was like, well, he's old and indie and we don't want these people anymore, it's too many bad habits to break. Mm-hmm. Okay, why are you keeping Johnny wrestling then? And tell me,
they want to keep Candace. That's why
they can keep Candace, and
they want to keep Dollar Store Candace. Yeah,
I don't. And I'm asking a very serious question here.
Sure.
Who the hell does Johnny Gargano, besides maybe Seth Rollins, wrestle on the main roster and it not look like someone's wrestling a child? I mean, who?
Drake Maverick's gone, right? Yeah, I don't know. Unless...
Wait a minute, hang on. You just said something about Drake Maverick being gone.
But they would have to do like a Mysterio thing with Gargano, and Mysterio's still there. So
yeah, I just look, because I remember I posited that maybe Adam Cole gets promoted to the main roster and he has a feud with Roman Reigns, but Adam Cole can hide behind goons, like just bring up the whole Undisputed Era. And you and Bailey hurt my feelings and laughed me out of the room. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I think the only way you could bring Gargano up is if you bring up DIY. You bring them both up.
Ciampa won't go.
He won't go.
Ciampa's like 100 years old.
That's true. But I think that's the only way that they could actually have some success on the main roster. They could surprise us.
Who wants to be a tag team on the main roster right now?
Nobody. Oh, nobody.
That's almost worse than being a cruiserweight. At least the cruiserweight gets their own show.
But at least if you're a tag team on the show, you get the belt like the first week, and then you lose the belt, and then you just like linger.
And then you're doing Pizza Hut spots.
Then you chuck pizza into the crowd.
Yeah. Ugh, it hurts my soul.
But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what would you do with Gargano if you keep him? Is the thing.
I can't. Everyone that he could have wrestled is gone, with the possible exception of like Kevin Owens and Finn Balor, and he's already wrestled Finn Balor a lot.
Yeah, I kept expecting. We talked off the mics about. I mean, this match ended, and the 4 2.0 guys, they're standing tall.
Mm-hmm.
Then it fades to black. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. We didn't get any Gargano like, thank you, Johnny. We didn't get anything like that. It was just, it ended with the 4 guys who won. Total flat ending, which is a WWE thing now, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, we always end the shows a little bit early to make you think something's going to happen. And then nothing happens.
Yeah. It says Finn and the film is over.
That's it. Yeah. Like the rosebud, zoom in, we're done.
Yep.
But like, I kept expecting like, okay, we're built like to the point where we're building Johnny as being a foot and a half out the door.
Mm-hmm.
Like something's got to happen.
Yeah.
Something's got to happen here. Like, are we going to get Johnny turning on the 1.0 guys and joining with the 2.0 guys? This is the future now. Yada, yada, yada. No, we didn't get anything. All we got is the old guys losing, the new guys winning, and the new guys standing tall.
I needed the 2.0 guys to literally take the black and gold team and put them in the trash. Like,
they have like the Spirit Squad gimmick, but
and slap a sticker on it that says "Send back to ROH."
Yeah, send to AEW. Postage due. Yeah.
In a world where the companies are cooperative and my sense of humor is the ruling thing, that happens, and like the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega just come in, whoa, and like carry it off. Great.
They write a check, hand it off.
So Kenny Omega walks in a UPS outfit, and he's like, "I'm here to pick up a package." There you go.
Do WWE still own Evolve?
Yes.
Why didn't they build up this 2.0 team on Evolve?
I don't know, and I don't even know when the last time Evolve had any kind of television presence.
Because it's like, I mean, they have the network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you would have thought Evolve would get a show or something. They did that one Evolve show way back when, because we covered
with
it
Shotzi,
on here. Yeah, and then that was the end of that.
That was it. But it's like, if you're actually doing this takeover angle here without the name takeover, why don't you build the guys up somewhere else here and then make it actually seem like these guys are coming to take over this spot?
Because they don't do long-term storytelling.
They don't do
anymore.
wrestling anymore.
So your whole gimmick is, we're here for the moments. That's what you like to say.
Well, it's true. Yeah.
Yes. I'm also going to tell you, not only are they into the moments in the show, but the show is now built and compartmentalized to create clips.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's so funny. Ridley Scott, he's a movie director. Movies are moving pictures with characters and plots.
He does a thing with the aliens.
Yeah, that's Ridley Scott. Okay, cool. So Ridley Scott put out a movie and this is the last thing I'm going to say, and we're going to start closing up. Ridley Scott put out a movie called The Last Duel, and it's a really fun, family-friendly movie about a woman who gets raped. Ooh. And
fun for the whole family.
Yeah. For those listening to traditional audio, big eye roll when I said that, being sarcastic.
Yes. Yes. /S.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a woman in antiquity is raped by a family friend, essentially, and the events of this picture are told from three perspectives: her husband, and the rapist, played by Adam Driver. And it's based on a book about the last duel and all of that, that then got adapted into this movie. It's a fine enough movie. We reviewed it on here for those that are interested, but it bombed hard.
Okay.
Like, nobody went to go see this thing. And in pre-COVID era, it might have done okay. If they didn't put it up against every Marvel movie in existence at the time.
They're releasing about 8 of those a week, I think.
Roughly. So if they release it during Oscar season, but it on a week where there isn't like huge competition, it probably does okay. Gotcha. Post-COVID, the audience for that sort of thing is staying home. And now you have more reasons than ever to stay home because of streaming and all, and instant PVOD and all of that. Point being, Ridley Scott didn't seem to be able to handle any of this or understand it. And where I'm going with this, as it relates to what I just said about compartmentalized clips, is Ridley Scott goes, nobody wants these kids today, these millennials being anyone under the age of 40, apparently. They don't want to learn nothing. They don't want to know nothing. If they can't learn it on their cell phones, they don't care. Okay, there's a degree of truth to that. It doesn't apply to the thing he's talking about. But,
apples and elephants, yeah.
Yeah. But he is making a good point about how much media is consumed in bites and morsels on your cell phone.
Well, yeah, like aren't like TikToks like 20 seconds or something? I mean, it's digestible stuff. Yeah.
Right. So think about how much of the WWE, even like me, you're an old man. We are dinosaurs. How much of this we are consuming in YouTube clips? How much of this we're consuming in like stuff that gets posted on Twitter?
Yeah, that's a very good point. That seems to be the way that these things are being produced now. Just with an eye toward that.
Right. So why do then long-term storytelling? Why try to build things up on a multi-tier platform to build up audience engagement when your audience is in and out and only watching clips at a time?
It's true.
Going back to your point, we are in the business of making moments, not in telling stories, which is why you've lost me as an audience member outside of being able to talk to my friend about a thing I used to like. So here we are. So overall, WarGames was a show that had wrestlers on it, and people got hit with tables and bats and whatnot. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's my judgment. It's fine.
It's a fact. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I'm not looking forward to today's Tuesday. So it's on tonight. I'm not going to watch it.
No, I have to watch it, but I have to watch Cowboy. I have to talk about Cowboy Bebop tonight and essentially hold a group therapy session that's going to masquerade as a review. Cowboy Bebop is an anime.
I know. I saw it like 20 years ago. That's a thing still?
It was remade into a live action series starring somebody Chew.
Why in all hell
John
would they do that?
Cho. Because Netflix, and Netflix needs content that is easily identifiable. And
oh, where's Ridley Scott when we need him? Oh.
Yeah, Ridley. I need a podcast of Ridley Scott and Martin Scorsese complaining about the state of film. There is literally going into plugs after this.
My first ever YouTube video.
Yeah,
someone said that I must be in Martin Scorsese's family tree. Yeah,
I believe it.
I guess I have the eyebrows or whatever, but and the movements here, but yeah. So that was something that I thought was kind of funny.
So, I lost my train of thought. All right, so that's it. That's
Amazon Music.
Yeah, that was where I was going. Next, what are you listening to these days? Still the yacht rock? What do you got going on when you're working on your notes for your podcast?
Right now, it's pretty much all Christmas music right now.
Oh, do you listen to Dominic the Italian Christmas Donkey?
I've never heard of him.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
I'm trying not to curse on this show anymore because we actually make money on this now. But you're another one with no Dominic?
No Dominic. I've been trying to get as much Wham in as possible. You know, there's like 8,000 versions of Last Christmas now, and
I am aware.
all of them except for the George Michael one suck. Like there's the Call Me Maybe Girl has one, and oh my god, it's butchered. It's like it's like, hey, we need this George Michael song just out of tune. Can you do it? Hell yeah, I can. It's really just funny. Rotten. And same with the Mariah Carey song. There are even more versions of All I Want for Christmas.
There are so many covers of Christmas songs now. It's pretty ridiculous. Okay.
It's pretty wild.
So let me show you something really quick here that I would like to talk about for a moment. And that is AmazonMusic.com. And we actually are giving away free 30-day trial of the Amazon Music Unlimited service. And you can go ahead and listen to Lou Monte's Dominic the Italian Christmas Donkey by using AmazonMusic.com.
I'm going to add that to my playlist.
It is a fantastic song.
That's the most adorable donkey I've ever seen in my life. It looks like a deer.
There are some truly horrifying ones, but that one is adorable looking. Also, I would recommend Lou Monte's Italian Jingle Bells.
Okay.
It's amazing. You like to do the homemade Italian cooking.
Of course.
I remember talking to you last year, and you like to make the lasagna. Put on some Italian Jingle Bells and make a lasagna. You can't get any more Italian than that. And the way you do that is by clicking the link in the description of this podcast. Get AmazonMusic.com/W2M Network for a free 30-day trial of the Amazon Music Unlimited service. That's get AmazonMusic.com/W2M Network for all your hee-haw needs. Alrighty. So tonight, the aforementioned Cowboy Bebop review. Last night, myself and Jason Teasley reviewed King Richard, The Guilty, and Night Teeth starring Debbie Ryan. All streaming movies currently that you can watch either on Netflix or HBO Max. We had a really good discussion. We had a good time talking about that. We spent like 45 minutes on King Richard, a little bit longer than I like to do for triple features, but there was a lot to talk about. Wednesday, myself and Jesse Starcher will be reviewing Doom Patrol. And then Thursday, myself and Pat Mullen will be doing the Four Kings of Boxing, Chapter 6, which is Sugar Ray Leonard versus Tommy Hearn Showdown at the Palace. And then we kick off Spider-Man week in earnest. But before that, we're re-airing our Crimson Peak review because Guillermo del Toro's new Nightmare Alley is out. And once upon a time, he did a movie called Crimson Peak. Robert Winfrey and Jason Teasley reviewed it. We're going to re-air it. And then we've got Everyone Loves a Bad Guy Spider-Man villains. We've got the Amazing Spider-Man 2 review from way back when. We'll have a Damn You Hollywood for West Side Story. Myself and Al Sedano. Jesus Christ. Hi, Chris.
Well, gentlemen. You didn't think that you were going to get by this one. Remember when I said I would come out of nowhere? It's a run-in, of course. From live from a basement.
During plugs. Fantastic.
So what do we think of the show, guys? Here we go. What do we think? I'll give you my 2 minutes just so we can get this in. Am I okay to do that, Mark? Or are you on the time crunch?
I just pretend you ran in, hit me with a chair, and just you have to start we are taking over, and then
do your pipe bomb. Yeah.
We're taking over, baby. Here we go. So I thought this show was not too bad. So it started with the women's match. I want to tell you a little bit about the women's match that I thought was funny. Poor old Cora Jade falling off that skateboard and having to endure the "you can't skate" chants was a hilarious start to the show. But she recovered miraculously, getting that shoulder injury put back in shape. You did not know that good old Io Shirai was also like a physical therapist and able to maneuver that shoulder right back into place.
That's what
God bless her heart.
When I was in physical therapy school, that's how I learned to do it. Yank the arm.
Straight up. Straight up. Mm-hmm. Like instead of putting it back in position, looked like she was moving it further away, permanently injuring poor Cora Jade and her skating ability. Now, onwards, and you know what? The rest of the show, I will tell you another one. So I'm only going to cover 3 points because you guys got to go home. Fabian Archer, or whatever his name is, from the Imperium.
Yeah.
Somebody get this guy in a main event program. Unbelievable. He carried that match on his back. Some of the stuff I saw out of that guy I've never seen before. Like grabbing that gigantic goon, Von Wagner, who I cannot stand, by the way. He's one shade away from Giant Khali. Like just absolute trash. But anyway, he caught him on his shoulders, powered him up. Then he did these ridiculous dives, and that trap at the end where he got Kyle O'Reilly, and he literally lifted him, added a submission hold for their finishing move was just fantastic. Somebody booked that man. This guy's future right there.
Just and then into a cup.
Yes, that you may have to dodge that bullet, Fabian. I will say that. Avoid the Peacock. And then finally, I just got to tell you, my man, Bron Breakker, Steiner Brothers 2021, killing Tommaso Ciampa. I loved that particular part at the end of the show. But I tell you what, overall, the show was, depending on your interest in the new product, was a little bit of a miss. I don't know what you guys think. I mean, you guys are pretty new to the thing, so just a thumbs up or thumbs down. What do you think of the new product, Mark?
The new product in general, thumbs down.
Yes, new product, thumbs down. Okay, Sheehan.
Thumbs in the middle.
There you go.
Cooling down a little bit.
I love Toxic Attraction. I love that whole gimmick. It got like almost like a DX type of vibe, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I'm done yakking. You got
2022? You think we'll still see them?
I don't know what to think. Will there be an NXT at all in 2022?
When do we usually get the "you're fired" messages online? Is that Wednesdays? So we got to wait till tomorrow.
AEW Takeover next up on the agenda.
We made that joke earlier that we need Kenny Omega to show up in a UPS outfit. Just take a box of wrestlers
get
home
a dolly
with him.
And pull. Yeah.
Thanks for popping in, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care, guys. Love you guys. Take care. Bye bye.
See you, brother.
I'm done with plugs. Go ahead and do your thing.
Oh, okay. You can find me several different places. I'm on Twitter at Ace Comics. Also do several shows every single day. Not several every day, but several over every single day. We've got X-Lapsed. That is all the current year X-Men stuff. When I'm through with those, we go to Essential X-Lapsed, which is a look at the Silver Age X-Men to the present. And then there's also a new show called Web-Lapsed, where I'm catching up with Spider-Man books that I have dropped. I've been away for about 10 years from Spider-Man. So I'm catching up on the current stuff off the strength of Zeb Wells' name. Zeb Wells was the writer on Hellions, if you're following the X-Men books, and he has consistently knocked it out of the park. It's probably the best current year book I've read in many, many years. So when I heard he was going on to Spider-Man, I could not resist. And Marvel is currently publishing like 18 issues of Spider-Man a month, and now I'm buying all of them. So we're back in Spider-Man land here, and I'm covering those on the channel as well. There's also the weekly shows or the Sunday shows. We do Quester Days, me and Chris Bailey, our run-in friend there. There's To the Choir, a preacher show, and there's also Maze Lighting, where me and my buddy Ed talk about the Maze Agency, a independent comic from the mid-'80s, kind of a moonlighting vibe in that book. It's a lot of fun, and every issue's a mystery, and we give the listeners the opportunity to solve it before the cast does. So it's fun stuff. Hoping to get at least one more of all the Sunday shows in before Christmas, but This time of year is weird, so
Yeah,
you never know. You never know. And when people are free, I'm busy. When I'm free, they're busy. It's one of those things. But
scheduling sucks.
It does. That's why I generally schedule with just me because I know when I'm available and I know when I'm not. But it's always more fun to do it with a friend. Because,
that's what they keep telling me.
That's what they say, right? To do it alone is...
It'll get you there quicker, but it's not nearly as fun.
It's true. It's true. And, if I have to sneeze or cough now, I can hold it back until you start talking. I can mute myself and just, But when I'm by myself and I kind of get verklempt, it's like, oh, damn it, I got to stop the recording. And then I got to move it back. And it's a pain in the ass. But, I enjoy the product and I enjoy the process. That is chrisandreggie.podbean.com. Also, the new look, Chris is on infiniteearths.com. I finally moved over to WordPress, and it's still ugly, but it's not as ugly, and it's more user-friendly. So,
real quick, two things before we go. Really, really quick. We got one more wrestling show, I think, in the month of December that we're going to do. It's going to be me and Harry Broadhurst covering the independent scene. We're going to do Ring of Honor, Final Battle, and Beyond Wrestling.
Are they going away?
For a while, if not forever. But lately, the last I heard was April was the big comeback. So we have Ring of Honor, Final Battle, and Beyond Wrestling, Feet, Fate, Fought, Foot, Forever. And that's the 12th. And then in January, myself and presumably the Podsman will be doing WWE Day 1. That's January 4th.
Stupidest name, isn't it?
It really is. We're going to talk about how stupid it is.
Mm-hmm.
This time, Tuesday, January 4th, presuming everyone can make it. And then we will be back for the Royal Rumble. Here's the thing about that. We will not be doing a review of the Royal Rumble. We're
doing a live thing.
We're going to do a live stream, the whole bloody 4-hour event. We're going to sit in front of our computers for 4 hours live streaming the Royal Rumble.
Do we have to do the pre-show?
No.
19 hours.
Just peeing in the cups.
Yep. This is the 18th time we've seen the Roman Reigns promo. Oh boy.
Yeah, we'll see us all descend into madness as that 4 hours goes. But yeah, we'll be doing a live stream of the Royal Rumble like we do for boxing. So we'll see how that goes. If we keep doing them for the big shows after that, we have 2 nights of WrestleMania we have to get through. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Hey, 18 hours.
Wrestling is better with friends. Everybody, that's what 100%. They tell me.
It's only good with friends, actually. To do it alone is it's like my wife listens to a lot of Gwen Stefani, and every time I pass through the room and she's playing, it's like it's music to kill yourself by. Doing wrestling by yourself is programming to kill yourself by.
Yeah, it sounds like Tori Amos. Who I like, by the way, but
yeah.
Last thing, and then I'm gonna hit the button. Please subscribe to us if you haven't already. Please subscribe to our YouTube page. I'm not saying you have to get the alerts. God knows I don't. But do click the subscription button. We are trying, and the reason why I'm pushing this is you have to have 200,000 subscribers on YouTube in order to become a verified reviewer on Rotten Tomatoes. I want to be a verified reviewer on Rotten Tomatoes. I have seen the verified reviewers on Rotten Tomatoes outside of like standard publications like the New York Times. Like I'm talking Fat Guy at the Movies, Doug Walker, things like that. Lola Lamb Chops. For God's sakes, people, can I not be? Can I not
make him a Lola Lamb Chops?
I want to be Lola Lamb Chops.
What the hell is a Lola Lamb Chops?
I'll tell you later.
Oh,
anyway, so we're trying to get our subscriptions up on YouTube. So please subscribe if you're listening to this and you like our shows. You don't, again, have to get the alerts, but the subscription would be nice. Also, if you're hearing this on traditional audio, like a normal podcast, please subscribe there. You get all of our shows, the ones that I do, the ones that Sean and Eric do. You don't have to listen to them all, but it would be nice to know that they exist. So please do that for us and check out our website at w2mnet.com, where we post all of these shows if you can't catch them live or on your podcatcher, et cetera, et cetera. All right.
Tell a friend or two and have them tell a friend or two.
Spread the word. Thank you for joining us here on TV Party tonight. Thank you for Chris Sheehan, who I'm so glad is back and we can get to do these shows again.
Me too.
I'm Mark Radulich. Be well, be safe, and behave.